Kyle, I'm super excited to do this with you. You've just finished the modules, the six core modules. You're in this now for the next 3 months, but why don't you kick off and tell us a bit more about you and then and why you joined the course, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah. I'm super excited to have, um, got to the end of the 6 week course, which is, I guess, really the beginning of my journey in many ways. Um, I'm just a regular guy who was very interested in my own brain and interested in improving my brain health as well as my family's brain health. And having now gone through the course, I think my vision of what's possible has been expanded tremendously. So really thankful to have gone through that. Um, I think the great thing is that I've learned so much about improving my health throughout the course, but also I feel like I've been given a launch pad now to help benefit others, and I'm really excited about the possibility of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people join the course in different areas. They join when they're fully fledged coaches, executive coaches. Then we've got the complete beginner like you. Then we've got athletic trainers. But I think at the core of what most people are joining for, which is is you have a passion for human performance. And I guess what I want to get out of you is first, let's talk about how you found the six core modules, because they were very scientific, they were very medical based, but you not having prior knowledge, like how did you find moving through all of the all of the content, the action items, the community, etc.?
Yeah, I am in many ways I'm such a rookie, but in other ways I'm just such a nerd. So I've done a fair amount of research leading up to the course, which I think was helpful. But kind of just being a regular Joe, I found the material super approachable. There was times where I was challenged to expand my horizon as we were going through as going through the course material. Um, but one of the things that I found to be most beneficial for me and how I learned was really working on the implementation and thinking through the material that I learned, and then also thinking through how I would implement that. Um, and I found that to be a really holistic approach that was really helpful for me, especially as not having any medical training or anything like that.
So you're now at the point of you've gone through the course and you're going to build out your program. And you and I jumped on a call yesterday and we were kind of at the point of figuring out what's your ideal proposition. So why don't you talk to us about what you're thinking of creating?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been really, thinking about working. I really want to work with athletes, at least in my initial iteration of what I'm building out. I do think that will expand over time, but in my immediate next steps is to work with athletes. A lot of the things that we talked about are how can I implement a system that helps an athlete work on their cognitive skills, understand their cognition? How can we take an athlete through a program and mark or measure the benefits that they might have from that or from working on their sleep as it pertains to their performance? So I'm thinking through that, which is really interesting and really exciting. And I do have a couple of people that are interested in working with me already. So I'm looking forward to implementing what I've learned in this course and then learning new things along the way.
Yeah, I mean, module two, when you went into cognitive performance, and we learn everything from, you go from module one, which is literally, neuroscience one-on-one. You understood the different lobes of the brain, what the brain was made of, how it communicates with, how the brain cells communicate with one another. And then you move into module 2, which I think is really exciting because that's how I started my career, working with NBA players on mental performance, really. And the reason why I love module 2 is because we can now access different areas of the brain and train it. And when you're developing a program specifically for ball sports, which is what NBA is, you're really targeting cognition, information processing speed, reaction time, intelligent thinking, critical thinking, memory. And you can do all of these through brain training. And one thing I love about this process is we give you all of the protocols for testing. We talk to you about how can you measure baseline assessments. And I got to be honest, like there's not many people building that out within the NBA sphere. If you look at the NBA, you can really dramatically increase your point scores. We've seen this through Sherry Ma's work with just doing sleep extension, which we talk about in module 5. But you can dramatically increase a player's performance just by working on their brain and their sleep. So yeah, so Kyle and I are going to be working on a program that he's going to build out together, that we're going to build out together, but that he's going to start marketing now that he's got the knowledge. And you went through and you did the knowledge on like VO2 max testing. You've done blood work, but I guess in this instance, you probably don't need it, right?
Yeah, like I said, maybe not in this initial phase, but I loved learning about it. In fact, I've been working to implement all that stuff on my own self.
Yeah. You went and did the blood test that we spoke
Yeah,
about. So for everyone listening, over in module 5, we do a complete analysis of blood work. We figure out, I teach you guys how to interpret blood work, where to order it from. And Kyle is a master implementer. He went and ordered the blood work that I recommended, which I think gets 122 biomarkers, depending on which one you got. And it's very performance based. But I think that's going to be exciting to look into.
yeah, it's great, and it's exciting. So, and like my first test subjects, I think, in terms of using all the modules in one implementation plan, will be my parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I already have good Christmas presents lined up for them this year, which is blood tests.
Oh, I love that. Well, because this was like online, what did you think about the community aspect of it? Because we do 2 Zoom calls a week, which is where you get to ask me questions and, we get to go through some of the questions that you have from the modules, because at the end of every module, you've got action items, you've got homework, you've got readings to do. You were probably one of the first people to download all the books and go through the readings, which I loved. You loved 7.5 lessons, which was part of the book list. But like, how did you find coming into the Zoom calls and going through those?
I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of
Yeah.
the course. Yeah, because I've done other online courses for various other things before, but they haven't had a strong community aspect
Mm.
in the way that you've structured, Louisa. And I think one of the things that I learned a lot from is just hearing other people's viewpoints, understanding their experiences, and then like working through the challenges together. I found that to be like really important. And then also just having that ongoing community gives me a lot of confidence in knowing that when I run into challenges, going forward, that I have a community I can reach out to sort of make sure I'm on the right path.
Yeah, I think it's also it's great to bounce ideas off one another. You all help each other in that group, and you're coming in, like we mentioned, as a beginner, but then you've got people who are really experienced as well. So you're kind of like you're feeding off them too. And I always say that you should be the dumbest person in the room. Not to say that you're dumb, but if you are there, if you're learning of people who have got many more years on top of you, that just accelerates your growth. Um, So what would you say for somebody who's thinking about doing this, but they're like a complete beginner, or maybe they're trying to transition from one career to another, but they're like, you know what, I don't have any clients yet. I don't work with athletes and things like that. What would you tell them? And if people who want to work with maybe older people, 50, 60, 70 years old.
Well, it's like I told you before, I think uh, I've realized just even implementing on my own health, like the investment in the program was worth it for that alone. But I think what you've set up is so great because I think it allows you to have like I call it a launch pad, but it's like I feel like I now have sort of completed my prerequisites in longevity.
Yeah.
And I now have a community of people that I can draw upon. And then if I want to specialize in certain areas, which I'm kind of doing, I can do, or I can sort of create something more holistic. But the way it's set up, you can kind of tailor what you take from the course into your own specific business or business models that fit your needs. And so I think that's it's pretty valuable. And I'm really excited. I have no idea what it means to go get clients or anything like that, but I'm not really worried about that in the
Yeah.
sense that it's just, it's giving me the opportunity to take things one step at a time.
I always say that this is pretty much like a science and medical degree in one. Actually, one of the things that you mentioned when we were on the phone is that you now know how to look up studies
Yeah,
and interpret them.
yeah, yeah. Again, that's probably, like a benefit that I'll walk away with is just learning how to be curious about what I'm looking at, where to sort of start to follow that thread. And so, yeah, I'm on PubMed now all the time. Like,
Oh,
what does
that's
this mean? Like,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
That makes you a more intelligent trainer. What we see now on social media is that people are just throwing things out there without citing their references and without really understanding how to read through a paper. So that's what we do in the course as well. We teach you how to review papers as part of actually one of your homework assessments, and maybe it was module 3,
yeah,
being able to look on PubMed, find a paper, critically analyze it, interpret it, and then write a mini essay on it. Really sounds
yeah,
like school, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. Yeah, I find
Yeah.
myself now, yeah, especially on social media, like, is that really true? Like,
Yeah.
I should go find out.
Yeah. And you should always like cite your references and put in your PMID. Well, I'm so excited for you. I'm excited to build out this program with you. I know that you're going to be the best mental skills trainer in the MBA. Very, very soon coming. But so you've just finished the 6 weeks. So what's going to happen now with you is over the next 90 days, or that's generally the place that I want people to get to, that in 90 days, you'll have a fully fledged human performance program in whichever area that you're going into. And then it's up to you after that to go and build the skills and build the marketing knowledge, implement it, build your scaling funnel and put yourself out there on social media. But you've got the groundwork now. You're like the bottom of the pyramid, the roots that is needed to build a successful and thriving business.
Definitely, yeah. I'm super thankful to have gone through the course and especially to you, Louisa. Yeah, so all the time and care you put into this, I'm really excited about it.
Thanks, Kyle.